Have you ever wondered who the real Dracula was? Is your spine ready to tingle as we delve into the chilling tale of Vlad the Impaler, the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula? In the heart of Eastern Europe, during the tumultuous 15th century, a figure of terror and dread emerged, leaving an indelible mark on history. His name was Vlad III, but he was more commonly known as Vlad the Impaler, a title he earned through his preferred method of execution. His reputation as a ruthless and bloodthirsty ruler echoes through the centuries, chilling the bones of those who dare to whisper his name. Vlad the Impaler was not simply a tyrant. He was a master of psychological warfare, a ruler who instilled fear in the hearts of his enemies with his gruesome displays of power. Tales of his atrocities spread across the continent, painting a picture of a man who reveled in the suffering of others. But how did this enigmatic figure become synonymous with the world's most infamous vampire, Count Dracula? The connection lies in the hands of Irish author Bram Stoker. While Stoker's Dracula is a work of fiction, it's believed that the character was inspired by the legend surrounding Vlad. The name Dracula, in fact, was derived from a moniker Vlad himself used, Draculaea, meaning son of the dragon. Vlad's dark legacy and the chilling tales of his rule provided fertile ground for Stoker's imagination. The connection between the two has cemented Vlad's place in popular culture, intertwining fact and fiction to create a legend that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. The tale of Vlad the Impaler is more than just a story of a ruthless ruler. It's a tale of power, fear, and the blurred lines between myth and reality. It's a journey into the heart of darkness, a dive into the depths of human nature and the horrors that lurk within. So buckle up as we journey back to 15th century Wallachia, where the tale of Vlad the Impaler begins. Born in the winter of 1431, Vlad III, later known as Vlad the Impaler, was destined for a life of brutality and terror. Nestled in the heart of Transylvania, a region renowned for its haunting tales and mythic creatures, the young Vlad was born into a world of power struggles and fierce rivalries. His father, Vlad II, was a member of the Order of the Dragon, a chivalric order dedicated to halting the Ottoman Empire's expansion into Europe. This connection would come to define much of Vlad's early life and his eventual descent into the realm of terrors. From a young age, Vlad's life was marked by turbulence and conflict. His father's position with the Order of the Dragon meant that Vlad and his family were often in the crosshairs of their enemies. But it was his captivity by the Ottoman Empire that would leave the most profound impact on Vlad's character. Taken hostage by the Ottomans as a child, Vlad was subjected to harsh conditions and brutal treatment. This period of captivity was a crucible that forged his ruthless nature and a thirst for vengeance. Vlad's experiences during these formative years laid the foundation for his brutal leadership style and his insatiable desire for power. His time in the Ottoman court provided him with a unique perspective on political manipulation and military strategy. These lessons would later serve him well when he ascended to the throne of Wallachia. Yet it was not just his strategic acumen that set Vlad apart. His penchant for cruelty, a trait likely honed during his years of captivity, became his signature. It was this combination of strategic brilliance and ruthless brutality that would transform Vlad from a mere prince into a figure of terror and legend. These early experiences set the stage for the reign of terror Vlad would unleash upon his return to Wallachia. The young prince, born amidst the snows of Transylvania, would grow into a king known and feared as Vlad the Impaler, forever leaving his mark on the annals of history. Upon his return to Wallachia, Vlad III ascended to the throne and began a reign of terror that would etch his name into history. Vlad's rule was marked by a dark cloud of brutality and fear that eclipsed the land of Wallachia. His favorite method of punishment was a stark reflection of his ruthlessness: impalement. This gruesome technique involved driving a stake through the victim's body in such a way that they would endure excruciating pain for hours or even days before succumbing to their inevitable demise. But why such a brutal method, you ask? Well, Vlad's choice was not random. He used impalement to instill terror and maintain control over his subjects, and it worked. The sight of bodies languishing on stakes was a chilling reminder of the price of disloyalty or defiance. Some instances of Vlad's reign stand out for their sheer horror. One such episode was the impalement of the Ottoman envoys. When these diplomats refused to lift their turbans in Vlad's presence as a sign of respect, he responded with a shocking display of his power. He ordered their turbans to be nailed to their heads to ensure they would never be removed. The envoys were then impaled, their bodies left as a grim warning to anyone who dared challenge Vlad's authority. Another notorious act of Vlad's was the burning of the poor and sick. Viewing them as drains on his society, Vlad invited them to a feast at his palace. Once they were inside, he had the doors locked and the building set ablaze. This horrific act was not just about eliminating those he saw as weak, but also about sending a chilling message about his power and control. Throughout his reign, Vlad showed no mercy. His cruelty was not limited to his enemies. He was equally ruthless towards his own people. His reign was marked by a campaign of terror designed to consolidate his power and suppress any potential rebellion. This was a ruler who thrived on fear, who used terror as a tool to control his kingdom. His subjects lived in constant dread, never knowing when they might fall victim to his sadistic whims. Vlad's rule was a dark period in Wallachhia's history, a time of terror and bloodshed that left a deep and lasting scar on the land and its people. His brutal methods and his disregard for human life earned him a fearsome reputation, and it's no surprise that tales of his cruelty have endured for centuries. In the end, it was these tales that gave him his infamous nickname, Vlad the Impaler, a name that conjures up images of fear and brutality, a name that echoes through history as a symbol of the darkest side of power. Through his reign, Vlad the Impaler left a trail of blood and terror that earned him his gruesome nickname. However, as with all reigns of terror, Vlad's came to an end, leaving a dark and bloody legacy behind. Following his infamous reign, Vlad was imprisoned by Hungarian king Matthias Corvinus. The reasons for this imprisonment remain a subject of debate among historians, with some suggesting it was due to Vlad's failure to repay debts, while others believe it was a strategic move by Matthias, who felt threatened by Vlad's growing power. Despite his confinement, Vlad's thirst for power remained unquenched. After several years, he managed to convince Matthias of his loyalty, resulting in his release and subsequent reinstatement as the ruler of Wallachia. But his final reign was short-lived, lasting barely 2 years. Vlad met his end in a battle against the Ottomans, the very force he had spent much of his life fighting against. The exact circumstances of his death are shrouded in mystery. Some accounts suggest he was killed in the heat of the battle, while others propose that he was assassinated by his own men, disillusioned by his ruthless leadership. Even in death, Vlad's story is marked by Enigma. The location of his grave is a mystery that continues to perplex historians. It is widely believed that he was buried at Snagov Monastery near Bucharest, but excavations have failed to produce any definitive evidence. His remains have never been found, adding to the myth and legend surrounding this infamous figure. Vlad's downfall was as dramatic as his reign. From a feared ruler to a prisoner and then back to power, only to meet a violent end, his life was a turbulent journey that left a deep imprint on the annals of history. His death, surrounded by mystery and conjecture, only serves to fuel the fascination with this bloodthirsty ruler. Thus ends the tale of Vlad the Impaler, a ruler whose reign of terror became the stuff of legends. Vlad the Impaler, a name synonymous with blood, terror, and the legendary Dracula. As we reflect on the life and times of Vlad the Impaler, we're confronted with a man whose brutal rule and insatiable thirst for blood have etched his name into the annals of history. His story, passed down through countless generations, has been embellished, altered, and retold, each iteration adding a new layer to his legend. Yet, amid all the horror and brutality, there's an undeniable fascination that keeps us coming back for more. His reign of terror has inspired countless tales of horror and gothic romance, culminating in the creation of one of the most famous fictional characters in popular culture, Dracula. The immortal vampire, with his insatiable thirst for blood, mirrors the real-life terror Vlad once inspired. And there we have it, the chilling tale of Vlad the Impaler, the real-life Dracula. Remember, legends always have a seed of truth in them.